In May 1787, the British government sent a fleet of 11 ships with the first Europeans to settle in Australia. The historic convoy, later known as the First Fleet, was led by Captain Arthur Phillip. The First Fleet's 11 ships comprised of 2 Royal Navy escort ships, the HMS Sirius and HMS Supply, 3 supply ships, the Borrowdale, the Fishburn and the Golden Grove, and 6 convict transports, the Alexander, the Charlotte, Friendship, Lady Penrhyn, Prince of Wales and the Scarborough. Departure. Ropes, crockery, agricultural equipment and a whole lot of other stores were needed. Items transported including tools, agricultural implements, seeds, spirits, medical supplies, bandages, surgical instruments, handcuffs, leg irons and even a wooden frame for the colony's first government house. The First Fleet had to rely on its own provisions to survive until it could make use of local materials. Phillip tried to get the fleet to sail on the 10th of May, but a dispute by sailors on one of the ships about pay, and they refused to leave until resolved. Captained by Arthur Phillip, the 11 ships of the First Fleet sailed from Portsmouth, England, departing on Sunday, the 13th of May, 1787. There were more than 1,480 men, women and children on board. They took 3 weeks to sail to the first destination of Tenerife, a Spanish territory in the Canary Islands. Here they stayed for a week and took on supplies of fresh food and water. Tenerife to Rio de Janeiro. The First Fleet departed Tenerife on the 10th of June and took 4 weeks to reach Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Here they stayed for a month repairing sails, collecting plants and seeds to be grown in New South Wales. The ships were clean and some of the convicts were given new clothes. The old clothes were burned to get rid of lice and fleas. The women were issued with new clothes made from rice sacks. Rio de Janeiro to Table Bay, Cape Town, 4th of September to the 13th of October 1787. The fleet reached Table Bay, Cape Town, South Africa, after surviving tremendous storms in the Atlantic Ocean. Here they stayed a month and took on livestock. This was the last port of call, so the main task was to stock up on plants, seeds and livestock, including horses, sheep and goats, for their arrival in Australia. Table Bay, Cape Town to Botany Bay over 10 weeks from the 12th of November to the 18th of January 1788. In the last months of the voyage, the First Fleet faced difficult conditions, spending some days becalmed and on others covering significant distances. A seaman was blown from one of the ships at night and drowned. Water was rationed as supplies ran low. Van Diemen's Land, Tasmania, was sighted on the 4th of January 1788. They rounded the south of Van Diemen's Land before heading north. The first ship reached Botany Bay on the 18th of January 1788. Other ships arrived over the next few days. Botany Bay to Port Jackson, Sydney Cove, 26th of January 1788. It was soon realised that Botany Bay did not live up to the glowing account that Captain James Cook had provided. The bay was open and unprotected. The water was too shallow to allow the ships to anchor close to the shore. Fresh water was scarce and the soil was poor. On the 26th of January 1788, the fleet weighed anchor and sailed north to Port Jackson. The site selected for the anchorage had deep water close to the shore, was sheltered and had a small stream flowing into it. the British flag was planted and formal possession was taken. Arrival. On the 26th of January, early in the morning, Philip, along with a few dozen Marines, officers and oarsmen, rowed ashore and took possession of the land in the name of King George III. The site selected for the anchorage had deep water close to the shore, was sheltered, and had that small stream flowing into it. Captain Phillip named it Sydney Cove after Lord Sydney, the British Home Secretary. The Chief Surgeon of the First Fleet, John White, reported a total of 48 deaths and 28 births during the voyage. The first settlement at Port Jackson later became the City of Sydney. Arthur Phillip noted that it was the finest harbour in the world, in which 1,000 sail of the line may ride in the most perfect security.